I want to make that happen through the power of government.
All right, so give me Van Jones, please, on net neutrality.
It does no good to win on net neutrality if net neutrality winds up having a neutral impact on the lives of the people. I would argue that fighting not just at the FCC, as important as that is, but fighting to make sure that every local city and municipality is making free broadband available to everybody has to be #1 on our agenda. It has to be.
#1 on the agenda. Wow. By the way, Free Press was so proud that we were going to help them get publicity this week that clip that you just saw, which we grabbed a while ago, yeah, it's too bad we have archives here. They've scrubbed that now from their website, but that's sure, they're proud of that. Why is Van Jones involved? Why does he think this is so great?
Well, Van Jones was a Free Press board member until he went into the administration. Van Jones has been praised by many of these radical left-wing groups, as you know, and he was speaking there at a Free Press event. We have the logo there in the background. And I think the reason they took it down from their website is right now they're trying to act like they're the good guys. We're stopping these bad phone and cable companies. We're going to keep everything fair and neutral.
Kind of hard when you have Robert McChesney, who is the co-founder of Free Press. Can you explain who this guy is?
He is a hardcore Marxist. He's a professor at the University of Illinois, formerly at the University of Wisconsin. And he has said that we need structural media reform, things like the Fairness Doctrine, things like taxing commercial radio to subsidize nonprofit, things like net neutrality, in order to pave the way for a revolution. He uses that term.
He uses the term revolution. And he also talks about taking capitalism apart brick by brick, does he not?
He did. He advised President Obama that he must brick by brick take apart capitalism.
Take apart capitalism brick by brick. Remember the guy who was, ahead of all the green jobs? The communist taking apart capitalism brick by brick. Isn't that interesting? So the second reason to have net neutrality is social justice. When we come back, the third, which really should disturb you now. All right, we're talking about net neutrality, which they're going to decide probably on Thursday with the FCC. Barack Obama says it's about access, and I don't have a picture of Barack Obama, but I could just use Rahm Emanuel because I hear lately he's the one making a lot of the calls. So then social justice, that's Robert McChesney. He's the co-founder of Free Press, and Van Jones, he loves it, and so does Susan Crawford. She's the internet czar at the White House. Boy, it's a good thing I have a picture of her, because otherwise I'd have to use this picture. But I don't think she probably wouldn't mind that, because he's the guy she turns to most often, I hear. Phil Kerpen is here. He's a policy director for Americans for Prosperity and the chairman for Internet Freedom Coalition. No, she didn't call to correct me on that one. That's weird. It must be true. Okay, so the third one here, we have social justice. And the third one is controlling content. And I think this is what most people are worried about. What does this mean to me? I mean, you get on, you read different news, alternative news sites. I mean, they're the ones, really, the internet, YouTube, blogs, just being able to share ideas. It's the place where we are more free than probably we've ever been before.
Absolutely. Look, the short-term impact of these types of regulations will just be that the internet won't work as well, because you won't have as much competition, you won't have as much investment, they won't be able to manage the network, things will load slowly, you'll have a more difficult time. The long-term implication is much, much more sinister, because all of these folks up there on the board and all these people we've talked about want the internet to be owned and controlled by government. And when they put regulations in that destroy private investment, they'll step in and they'll put government investment in, taxpayer dollars in. They've already got $7.2 billion from the stimulus, and they said, and Susan Crawford told the Wall Street Journal that that's just a down payment.
Okay, hang on just a second. A Maoist. I think Rahm is just evil. I don't think he's anything but. I don't want to call him a Marxist, because I don't think he is. We have a Maoist. We have a Marxist. We have a Marxist. She a Marxist?
Cyber utopian, a little different.
Marxist?
Fair to say, yeah.
Fair to say? Okay. So we have Marxists that are designing and working on net neutrality, are big believers in net neutrality, right? Gosh, it does seem that these would be the wrong people to help, innovate business for it. And so what they want to do is, if I can do the third one, control content. Please play Mark Lloyd's clip. You have this full screen? Go ahead and put it up for me. Unfortunately, the powerful cable and telecom industry doesn't value the internet for its public interest benefits. Instead, these companies too often believe that they are there to safeguard their profits. They must control what content you see and how to get it. Their plans, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses, I can barely read this. Their plans could have dire consequences for those whose voices are often marginalized by our nation's media system. You know what, I have to tell you something, and I mean this sincerely, and I'd love to hear, when has America had the opportunity, or any human being on the planet had the opportunity to be heard through the unregulated internet more than right now?
Never. And Glenn, that's why they turn things inside out. And I think that Mark Lloyd, who of course is a huge proponent of the fairness doctrine, I think that net neutrality will end up doing the same thing that fairness doctrine did to radio to the internet, because they'll say, now we've put all this taxpayer money in, it's a public trust, we can't possibly allow these unbalanced viewpoints out there, and they'll start to regulate content and require so-called balance and allow those marginalized voices that Mark Lloyd talked about. And that's where this becomes really frightening, because when government censors you or requires you to alter your content, you will not have a competitor to turn to the way you would if the phone company tried it. You could go right to the cable company. And so that's why I think it's really frightening.
Do you remember, I mean, good heavens, man. What are we doing in America? What are we doing to our freedom of speech? I'm going to introduce you later on this week to the people that are really behind all of this. These are a few of the characters. But it's insidious what they're doing, not just to the internet, to everything. All we need is just add emergency, and the country will be fixed in a Marxist utopia, I think, but I'm not sure, because if I'm wrong on that, White House, you think, no, not today either, huh? Okay, back in a minute. Well, a group of people that must be funded by some aerospace industry had put something up on the internet that I think you need to see.